Historic news from NASCAR tonight. Former champion Kurt Busch suspended indefinitely after a judge rules in favor of Busch's ex-girlfriend who says he abused her. Busch is now the first driver NASCAR has ever suspended for domestic violence. Here, his alleged victim speaks out. He's one of NASCAR's star drivers, Kurt Busch.
Power off turn number 4, and the outlaw wins the battle at Martinsville.
But tonight, NASCAR is putting the brakes on his career, suspending him after a judge found Busch manually strangled his ex-girlfriend, Patricia Driscoll. Driscoll sat down for an exclusive interview with Good Morning America's Michael Strahan.
And I never saw some of the warning signs.
All this just days before one of the biggest races of the year, the Daytona 500.
Based on our review of the available details, including the court's findings that were released earlier today, NASCAR is indefinitely suspended driver Kurt Busch.
She claimed her ex-boyfriend, Kurt Busch, assaulted her in September. She drove to Busch's motorhome with her 9-year-old son after she claims he texted her. She says her son was in the front of the motorhome while she and Kurt were alone in the back.
He didn't even look like himself. And long story short, he was saying some really weird and crazy things, very paranoid. And he popped up out of bed and grabbed me by the throat with one hand, and with the other hand he grabbed my face. And he smashed my head into the wall 3 times.
Was there any warning that something like this could happen?
No way, because if I had thought for 1 second that he was still angry or crazy, I never would have even come there.
Kurt Busch has denied the allegations, his defense team fighting back, saying she's lashing out after Busch broke up with her.
When he rejected her, she set out on a pattern and a course of conduct to destroy him. And she told people that's what she was going to do. And this is all an orchestrated campaign to ruin the guy that decided he no longer wanted to be with her.
His lawyer telling us his client did not assault Driscoll. Busch testifying he was the one that should be afraid, depicting her as a gun-toting assassin.
I'm not a regular mom. I like to shoot as much as I like to dance and have sex.
His defense team introducing this video she pitched for a reality show.
Now, he said some things about you in his testimony to the court, and which he said you were a government assassin. Now, I'm here to ask you, are you an assassin?
Do you feel threatened by me right now?
It's something that he's thrown out there, and it's a big accusation. We've heard people be called a lot of things, but never a government assassin.
I'm from West Texas. I grew up shooting guns. I own a defense company. I heard some of the most ridiculous accusations in the 4 days of testimony. I can't even describe to you how hard it is to sit there and listen to these lies being told about you, and you can't say anything.
A judge sided with her, granting a protective order against Busch, saying there was sufficient evidence of domestic abuse. But Kurt Busch's lawyer saying it's just not true.
People know that after a bad race, Kurt blows up sometimes, and he's had that reputation within the racing community, but it's only applied to racing. It hasn't applied to relationships. But she testified to all kinds of garbage that is not true, but the judge is apparently accepting it.
The he said, she said court battle was spurred by that confrontation in September. But Driscoll told us there was one earlier incident.
Was there ever any prior incident of violence between the two of you?
Yeah, 2012. And we ended up working it out.
Busch's attorney told us the allegation of violence in 2012 is, quote, flatly untrue. Driscoll telling us their relationship was fine until this past September.
What was going through your mind after this happened to you?
Shock. You just can't believe that someone that you love, who you've spent 4 years with, could hurt you like this. It's unbelievable.
Busch has denied the assault allegations all along, and with the $1 million race just days away, he's planning to appeal the decision. His lawyers putting out this statement. We are extremely disappointed that NASCAR has suspended Kurt Busch, and we plan an immediate appeal. It's important for everyone to remember that the commissioner's report has to do with a civil family law matter, and no criminal charges have been filed against Mr. Busch. We are confident that when the truth is known, Mr. Busch will be fully vindicated and back in the driver's seat.
Kurt Busch has been called the outlaw. I mean, his nickname is the outlaw. You've got the bad boy, feisty personality of NASCAR, but you've got the nation saying we will not tolerate domestic violence. NASCAR, you're at the crossroads of this huge national conversation.
Busch's suspension is just the latest in the slew of headlines about athletes making news for indiscretions. NFL star Ray Rice was suspended after hitting his then-fiancée in an elevator. Adrian Peterson was suspended without pay for striking his 4-year-old son with a switch.
The Ray Rice video was a watershed moment in sports. No league can ever allow someone like Kurt Busch to compete just even within hours after the news hits.
Tonight, NASCAR is wasting no time investigating Busch and swiftly suspending him before the biggest race of the year. Patricia Driscoll is content with NASCAR's decision, saying in a statement tonight, "For victims of domestic violence, there are no victories. My only hope is that the pain and trauma I suffered through this process will help other victims find their voice."
This is the reality of the 21st century for all these leagues. The National Football League lived through it in a huge way, still dealing with it today, 6-8 months later. And now here comes NASCAR, and they've got to deal with it again. This is going to be fascinating to see how it plays out.
With the big race on Sunday, it remains to be seen if the star driver will make it back to the track.